And we're ready to go. It's time once again for a Ballpark Digest live broadcaster chat. I'm Jesse Goldberg Strassler with the Lansing Lugnuts, and Mick Gillespie will be joining with the Tennessee Smokies. Things that we're going to discuss today. Our baseball lingo will be the Texas Leaguer, the blooper, the flare, all sorts of matters surrounding the Texas Leaguer. Where did it come from? What are our preferred words? What does it accurately pertain to? And from there, we'll just see where the conversation takes us. We'll share anecdotes from around games that we've been at where things have gone wrong. We'll discuss broadcast situations and our famous call of the week, which this week will be the shot heard around the world. Russ Hodges, October 3rd, 1951, the Giants against the Dodgers, and Bobby Thompson. Mick, how are you? Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, look, I'm wearing my pink. I'm ready to go. Happy Valentine's Day to you, and happy spring training.
That's right. Pitchers and catchers have reported, and everybody else, because the other players don't wait for just their positions to be called.
No, and it's not the way it used to be where everyone shows up and they're out of shape and fat, and then they, take the 5 weeks to get in shape, and you come in ready to go now, whether you're a star player or you're someone that's just trying to make a roster spot, because if you don't, it's news when you come in out of shape.
I was talking to a strength and conditioning coach, and he said if you arrive in at spring training out of shape, you're lost. It's done for you already.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, and you get there. I mean, it's just crazy how things have changed so much since like the 70s to now, or the 80s to early 80s to now, because these guys really have to work all year to get ready for spring training, and then that leads into the season. So it's eating right, it's conditioning, it's the throwing programs, and the Cubs have an individual program for all of their players that they want them to follow in the off season, but it's that time now, and it's exciting. I mean, everybody has a chance right now. That's what's great about this time of year.
That's why you always hear the phrase best shape of his life. Mick Gillespie, are you in the best, let's say, vocal shape of your life heading into this season?
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of rest. I haven't done much since football ended. Some basketball here and there, and this show. But yeah, I think I'm in good shape. I always conditioned with a smooth glass of bourbon or a nice cigar. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? For me, it's all about just being on the air and doing it. And, there's a time in the season, and you probably go through this too, where you struggle a little bit. Maybe you get a cold, and you might miss a game here and there with where you just have to rest, because if you don't, you'll miss like a week. At least that happens to me. It seems like, maybe May or June every year.
What happens to me is allergies. I never was afflicted by allergies, and now the past couple of years, each time in spring, April, May, they hit and they hit hard. Thank you, Flonase.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, there's a lot more stuff you can take now, and it affects the players too. When Chris Bryant was with the Smokies, he really had problems dealing with his allergies here in East Tennessee, and in this area, it is one of the worst for allergies, and day games were so tough on KB, and he'd miss a game or two during the day games because of headaches, just from pollen and all that other stuff. And I think he still deals with it somewhat in Chicago, but I mean, it's everyone, whether it's you're broadcasting, and I'm sure umpires are the same way, broadcasters. The problem with us, though, is that, if we don't have a voice, we're not really useful.
Exactly. With me, I get sick at the end of each season, as if my body has said, I've brought you through this entire thing. Now, relax and spend the next week on the couch.
Yeah. You know what? That's funny you said that, because we've never talked about this before, but it has happened to me a lot through the course of my career, that the season ends, and it's like the very next week, I'm sick. I mean, legitimately sick. And, fever, coughing, all that stuff. And I always wonder, like, how did it get through the entire season? And it didn't happen to me. And here we are a week out. I'm supposed to be relaxing and enjoying myself, and I'm sick. But it's happened so much that there's got to be some kind of connection there.
Your body has said during the season, I can't get sick. Whatever it takes,
mentally.
I can't. And now, okay, let's take this off. Broadcasting news. First, congratulations, Sammy Levitt, the new voice of the brand new Amarillo Sod Poodles. He is the voice of the Sod Poodles. And have you seen, Mick, the broadcast committee that will join Joe Castiglione for the Boston Red Sox next year?
No, I heard that that's what they were going to do. Tim Neverett was there, and then he went to the Dodgers, and it was kind of one of those deals where, we weren't sure what was going on with that situation, but they lost a good broadcaster, and Tim's a great guy too. Um, every major league team, they have this vision of what they want, and then someone else there has another vision of what they want, and then someone else and doing this job, we're like like we're like musicians, someone that likes my style might not like someone else's style as much, and someone that likes someone else's style might not like yours or mine. So it's so subjective. But I'm just not a fan of the broadcast committee style of broadcast, because in radio, we develop a relationship with the fans over the course of time. And that's why when I hear, it's more than just having a good voice. People say, well, he's got the voice for radio. Yeah, that works for about 2 games. And then you need someone that's I think it's someone that you just want to sit there and hang out with, that you don't mind listening to. If someone's a good person, hey, that's going to translate over the course of 162 games, And when you have a committee like they're doing, and I'm definitely curious to hear who's on this committee. And I do love Joe Castiglione, by the way, too. I actually have an impression of him, which
Will you treat him?
I don't know if I should do it right now. Maybe another time. But over the course of time, you develop this connection with your audience, and it's when you have a committee of people, it's impossible to create that connection. And the connection is whether you're doing baseball, whether you're doing politics like Rush Limbaugh, whether you're doing a comedy show like Howard Stern, whether you do some sort of anecdotes that are funny like Paul Harvey, whether you have the weekly countdown show like Casey Kasem. It's over the course of time that people get to know you doing this radio that really helps build your audience. And if you're trying to sell a broadcast, I know you're selling the team, but it's so much easier when you're selling a personality. It just makes it a lot bigger. So if I'm sure the Dodgers never had trouble selling the radio when Vince Scully was the voice, or TV, because he's the greatest ever, and everyone knew him. Harry Carey with the Cubs, same thing. So I'm curious, who do they have on this committee that I just absolutely tore up?
No, it makes me think of a TV show where they're like, starring Joe Castiglione, special guest star. Here we go. Sean McDonough, Josh Lewin, Mario Impemba, Chris Berman, Lou Merlone, Dale Arnold, Tom Caron, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing his name, and the TV voice, Dave O'Brien. People will cycle in and out. I think Mario's got 55 games. I think Josh might have 55 games. And it's going to be, as you say, there's not going to be that consistent voice at Joe's side.
Yeah, well, at least it's an all-star crew.
Yes.
Dave O'Brien, I love him, man. He's one of my favorites.
What a voice.
Yeah, he's good. And then you start going through the other names, you recognize a lot of those. How about Chris Berman doing games? He's kind of disappeared off of the ESPN stage, but we remember him. I mean, he actually broadcasted Cal Ripken's memorable streak game. Remember?
I sure do.
On ESPN, and it's radio. I wonder what he sounds like on radio. But he's got a great personality. So at least people will recognize some of those voices because they are so famous.
What you say about different guys having different tastes in broadcaster? I was listening to Pat Hughes's baseball voices on John Miller. John tells the story of how his very first employer was Charlie O. Finley.
Yeah.
Charlie O had 14 broadcasters and 14 seasons.
Yeah.
Said when he hired John that the reason that he fired the last guy was because he wasn't exciting enough when nothing was happening. So Let's see, Mick might have frozen right there, although that's a great facial expression for Mick to freeze with. Let's drop Mick out, see if we can get things to go. And as the lighting returns, the things that occur and the dramatic timing of all of this as it happens. So that's your Boston Red Sox team. Mhm. And isn't that weird? Shortly.